Alrighty folks, gonna pop up another quick video with Stephen here from TCTSgroup.com. TCTS Ireland Compliance Pal Global Software. So we've just scooted down the road from Belfast to our Armagh offices here. Number of meetings this morning. Always talk about nice exciting meetings and business growth and new clients, but unfortunately the next two meetings are a wee bit, what could you say, crappy maybe for the clients themselves. But just into reception, make sure we've got TCTS Group TV and YouTube playing. Yes, nice one. Always checking. So yeah, we've two back-to-back meetings with clients. One in serious difficulty over insurance because of incompetent accident investigation. So we're going to have to take that over. There's a lot of areas missed with health and safety, with the interviewing process, with the witness statements, with the examination of the vehicles. And then the next meeting is regarding what's classed as tachograph fraud. So let me get to the office first. So it's not so much the tachograph fraud, it is the allegation of tachograph fraud. And where this came from is a transport compliance audit, an official enforcement audit. And within that, what they're saying is that you operated a certain amount of vehicles maybe 6 or 8 months ago, and you, the operator, have failed to produce and record records of all the tachograph activity. So the problem with that is, it's very simple. The problem with that is that the enforcement agency, the enforcement body, have simply just went into your operator's license. And when you go into vehicles in your operator's license, down on that particular page or section, you can download all the vehicles that have ever been listed on the license. And all vehicles that's been taken off the license. So they've identified a number of vehicles that have been on the operator's license for a period of time. Some of them only a week, some of them only 2 or 3 days. And then they've asked to see the records of them vehicles. Now, the simple problem is, as usual, the tachograph analysis software that they're using, or company that they're using, have just archived the data. Now, that's no problem. The big thing is understanding the difference in tachograph analysis and tachograph management. Tachograph analysis, simple bit of software, 10 a penny in the industry now, all over the place, all of it's the same price, and it does the same thing. There's not one that would outweigh the other at the moment. A couple of years ago we did have, now it's, as I say, it's 10 a penny. But the problem is the tachograph management. Okay, do not mix the two of these up, because what has happened is the vehicles have been used, the vehicle driver card has been downloaded, it has identified the vehicle in which that card was inserted. On checks of the vehicle, there's been no company card lock-in. Because there's been no company card lock-in, then there's no analysis of the vehicle. Then they check for the vehicle being listed on the license. They make sure then that matches up with insurance, and one thing leads to another. So we're into this big allegation of tachograph fraud. And I've looked at all the data, I've looked at all the information, I've looked at the case files, and we'll have no problem getting it sorted out. But the point of this video, guys, is you hear me bang on all the time about tachograph management and tachograph analysis. For the love of God, tachograph analysis, it's a bit of software, raw data ran through, end of story. How do you manage it? For example, I had an argument with a tachograph analysis provider only recently, and they were wanting to get involved in their compliance PAL and tachograph PAL software, okay? Now, they're not an affiliate client, and they're not a CCA client, they're not a TC client, so we can't take them on until a couple of years' time when we get a bit of space for them. But it was an interesting conversation, because they do not do tachograph management. They are not authorised as a bureau. They are not expert witnesses. They cannot attend as expert witness for public inquiries or courts. And they're saying that they're starting to see that they're not adding value to the customer, client, operator. Now, my point of view in that, although I agree with them, but what I'm saying to them is, everybody knows you're only a bit of software, and therefore it's up to the operator to make sure all vehicles are downloaded within the required time. They have to make sure that all driver cards are downloaded within the required time. They have to make sure the tachograph calibration is in date. They have to make sure that the tyre size matches. They have to make sure that the registration matches with the chassis number. They have to make sure that when driver cards come to expiry, that there is a system control measure in place, that it doesn't expire and then you try and use it. They have to make sure there's spare print rolls. They have to make sure that the vehicles are presented for downloading. They have to make sure that if they're not remote downloading, that they're brought in and done manually. They have to make sure that they put a company card in to retrieve the data from a download. It's all basic stuff, guys, and has been since well before digital tachographs even. So now when the digital come out, it's a hell of a lot easier. So yeah, this conversation goes back and forth all the time. But the point of this video is this next client is in a world of trouble over it, and we'll get them sorted out, but they shouldn't have got in this issue. And their barrister was saying to me, well, you know, you shouldn't be giving out to the operator because he's coming to you looking to get all this sorted out. And I says, I do give out to the operator, because if they came to us as a client, you would never, ever be in this situation, or you wouldn't be a client of ours. It's one or the other. So yeah, it's okay signing up now and becoming a client of ours, and we'll sort all his problems out. But it's a very large operator, and to be fair, the transport managers failed dramatically. They have 4 people in compliance, and they have failed dramatically as well. But the operator and the business owner and the investors, all they can do is go by the people they put in place. And this brings me back over even to the likes of our training, guys. It's very, very simple. If you don't know, you don't know. A lot of people are being put in compliance roles just because they're office admin and planning or something, and the next thing they're put into them roles and they don't have the relevant experience. I'm not going to say expertise, because you have to be trained in these areas. So yeah, very interesting one this afternoon. And the first one all about insurance, guys. Violation of health and safety, violation of designated walkways, SOPs, safe working procedures, safe systems of work, failure for risk assessments. Like, they're looking for, in this particular incident, they're looking for everything. They're looking for induction, they're looking for the duration of inductions, they're looking for sign in and sign out, they're looking for competency of the person delivering the induction, which will never be a health and safety person. Remember that. Reiteration of documentation, you need skilled personnel in place. They've looked at the employee handbook, HSE, they've pulled that apart. The leading barrister on the defendant's case, he has ripped that apart. There has been no updates in any of the documentation. There's been no review dates. They've changed the site twice, and the designated walkways and segregated areas haven't been updated. Their fire plan hasn't been updated. It's just an absolute mess. But it's interesting because we work, well, this barrister works for us, and we do a lot of work for their clients within manufacturing industries and all. Health and safety, guys, is health and safety. It doesn't matter. If you're a health and safety professional and you're a health and safety provider, you will be a qualified, certified and experienced in nearly any industry. And that's the beauty of, you know, coming to companies like tachogroup.com, because we just take it over from start to finish, depending on what service the client wants. But it goes back again to control measures, and, you know, for a couple of pound every month, a couple of pound every year, the claim that's in at the moment, I think, is 1.3 million. So, you know, we're a wee bit expensive, but we're not 1.3 million for a bit of health and safety support, let me tell you. Might actually raise that price, like. Anyway, if you're in doubt, guys, give us a shout to info@tachogroup.com. That is all.